This is going to be a quick video on how to rip a research article or an academic book. And this is particularly for my co-researchers so that when we're designing our literature review, we're not spending all of our time reading the resources. We can only consider them insofar as they're useful to us. So the very first step is to find them and then do what I call ripping them, which is to get the main parts that are important and pull them out just so I can have a log. So it's kind of like creating an outline of all of the resources so that when it comes time to writing the article, we're not trying to pull together 40 page long article summaries. We can just look at what's there, see what connects, and then at that point, if we need to do more detailed or a closer read, we can do so, but we don't need to sort of shackle ourselves with that from the very beginning. Now, I guess before I go into any of that, a first step before you really understand your topic is to do deep dive reading, and I recommend that everyone do 6 to 18 months of reading in an area before you begin a research project. But generally, by the time you reach graduate school or professorial or academic position, you have your area pretty well nailed, and you probably have a few degrees about it or for it. So a lot of my studies, I've already done a lot of reading. I have that grounding, and so I need to just familiarize myself with the literature as it is today. So I'm going to pull up what we use at Albany State, or the University System database, and I've actually found this to be the easiest way to locate peer-reviewed sources, and in some cases non-peer-reviewed sources, if that's what you're looking for. It's the simplest way to search by keyword, so I'm just going to do that. Oh, and by the way, the topic I'm going to look at today is something for Phenomenology of Tattoos article I'm working on, and a study that I plan on doing. I'm interested in the experience of getting a tattoo and how that sort of transforms the body, transforms perception, and so on. I don't know exactly what that will yield, but that's the topic. And one of the areas I want to research within that, really explore maybe one of the foundations, is cultural traditions that are associated with body art. So when I think of tattoos today in the 21st century, the large majority of them are some sort of self-expression connected to identity, maybe social expectation. It's something that is becomes normative through television and media. And so it's a very sort of recent cultural phenomenon, but there are cultural traditions that go back hundreds and thousands of years. And I'm thinking specifically of tribal tattoos and Polynesian artwork. So I am pulling up Galileo here. I'm just going to search something to that effect. So I am doing an advanced search, which allows me to use keywords. So let's go in the title at first, because I want this to be as specific as possible. And we'll say tattoos, and then Polynesian. I'm not sure exactly how to spell that. And let's see what's out there. All right, looks like I spelled it correctly. So Skin Stories, the Art and Culture of Polynesian Tattoo. We'll make sure we've got full text because I actually want to read these things, and that's published in Newswire. So keep in mind, this here is a non-peer-reviewed source, National Geographic Traveler. It might be the case that I don't find any peer-reviewed sort of academic articles, but I can still get a sense of what the cultural significance is by looking at some of these articles. But I want to find an academic source just because I think that makes it a little harder to read. These Newswire articles are likely very short and easy to read. All right, so these are ostensibly peer-reviewed sources on the topic of Polynesian tattoo culture. And so this is what I do. In Galileo, it gives you the title of the article, where it's published, the Journal of Polynesian Society, and then the abstract, and that's all available really quickly, so let's go through that. This article employs a comparative textual method to critique Percy Smith translations. Okay, this is getting a pretty detailed critique of an analysis already conducted. Let's skip it. Attitudes towards people in the other cultures espoused by, oh, these are in novels. Now we're getting pretty far afield, so let me back up a little bit. Let's say tattoos and cultural significance. And I may need to specify that I want that in the title. Alright, so tattoos is body text and tribal identity. Looking at, what is this, a short story? Okay. Religious tattoos. Nope. Nope. Cultural property. I'm gonna go specifically at Hawaiian culture. Here we go. Tattoos in different cultures. I wonder if that is going to be what we want. 1979. Wow, it's a good many years ago. All right, so I'm going to try to rip this really quick. We've got several pages, lots of pictures. And I'm curious about this, so I'm going to want to spend a little bit of time. It looks like they're introducing a tattoo artist. We look at tattoo popularity in Micronesia, New Zealand, Japan. So I'm getting a lot of, look at these old pictures. We're looking at some of the cultural traditions associated with tattoo art. These are the Japanese sleeves. Very beautiful. And I'm guessing there are similar analyses. These look like African body art, so not necessarily tattoos. But these look like scars that are artfully done. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of different cultures presented here. I wonder, there isn't really a concluding chapter. Oh, we got Samoan. So what I'm looking for now is a quick kind of summary to draw all of this together. Like, what is the purpose? What are they exploring here? Maybe I skipped over it. It is the purpose of the text to show some of the attitudes about tattooing among the people in other cultures. Yeah, that sentence right there really nails it for us. And since we're just at the very beginning stage, all I want to do is, this is written by Goldstein and Sewell. I think it was 1979. The title was Tattoos in Different Cultures. It was published in Journal of Dermatological Surgery and Oncology. Um, 511. 857 through something. So it's not so important that I have all that right now. But what's important is that I rip the article, and the article is about showing the attitudes about tattooing among the people in the cultures of New Zealand, Micronesia, Samoa, and Hawaii. All right, what I did right there is not read the article through, although I'm going to because it's exactly what I was looking for. It allows me to summarize briefly, maybe a sentence or two, about the cultural variations on the historic importance and maybe religious importance of tattoos. And so when it's time to draw my article together, I'm going to go here because this is going to be a rich resource for accomplishing that. I'm going to save the article. I've got the bibliography there, and then I'm going to move on to the next one, see if I can maybe focus specifically on Japanese, because these interest me, the Samoan, maybe the African body arts, because 3 very different styles of tattoo. We have the solid black blocks of the Samoan and Polynesian tattoos. We have the scar-based tessellation style of African tattoos, and then the beautiful sort of artistic and colorful sleeves of Japanese tattoos. And I'm curious to see what the religious or cultural significance is in each of those and what sort of similarities they share. And that's going to provide the bulk of that section of the article. So again, what I wanted to do here was show what it's like finding an article that's peer-reviewed and how to manipulate the search terms that you use. That was sort of a side benefit, but ultimately how to rip through an article, tease apart what we're looking for, discard an article that may not be exactly what we're looking for, but eventually get to a useful resource that can be used. That is it.